Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Lex and Lace podcast. It's your host, Lexi. And today we have a guest. Guest, say hi.
Hi, happy to be here.
So, guest, who are you? What do you do? And how did we meet?
Well, I don't know where to start, but we met quite a long ago in 2001. Almost 24 years ago.
Basically.
But I'm happy to be here, and I've been really following your journey. It's so inspiring and beautiful. So I was so happy when you invited me for this podcast, Lexi and Laces. And actually, I did listen to the previous ones, the first and the second. And
What did you think?
Yeah, I loved it. You are really dealing with the very interesting and relevant issues. I know the focus is law, is fashion, is AI.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not really an expert on those three issues, but I like fashion, particularly
I think you're quite fashionable.
African materials.
I think you're quite fashionable.
They're so beautiful.
I think you're quite
The
fashionable.
color, the style. But yeah, it's something that really fascinates me. So I like fashion, but also I've been really following with the key interest AI.
Yeah,
Although
what are your thoughts?
you were quite, I would say, skeptic.
Is that the word? I was a skeptic. I'm an AI skeptic. What, in my previous episode? Huh? Guys.
Yeah, the one that you did last week, I think it was last week, not quite sure about having robots, in the house that can help you. But actually this morning I was listening to the radio, and there was a kind of a discussion about it, and someone was saying that, we have to believe that this is here to stay, this is here to help. When they started with the washing machine, when the washing machine was invented, I don't know how many years ago.
You told me this story.
No
this
one
morning.
believed
You
that
told me
this is
story.
really going to relieve, particularly women. We used to spend so much time washing their clothes.
By hand.
Yeah, and then the washing machine came and people were not really believing that this is really something that will help them. But today, no one can live without a washing machine. I can't live without a washing machine.
You don't want to go back to traditional.
So which means that, okay, there are things that AI maybe is not able to do the way we would expect, like a robot that takes so much time to give you the cup of coffee.
You see this?
It takes 7 or 8 minutes, while you can do it in 1 minute, even less. But as we move forward, as the world progress, I think that, AI will also, of course, the robot will really improve in the way, of course, they do things, and it will become more and more intelligent, more content into it. So, but of course, apart from robotics, of course, I do use AI for work.
What do you do for work, if you wish to tell us? That you use AI so much.
Well, not so much, but of course, I do have to represent my organizations, going to conferences, making speeches, writing reports, responding to emails, writing letters. So this requires, of course, a lot of research, making sure that, of course, everything is aligned, everything, is, how can you say, is well, of course, put, which means that I have to sometimes, but more often even now, to rely on AI to help me.
Okay, but guys, what were we doing 5 years ago when there was no AI? Because I remember the days in university where there was no AI. You just had to Use your own brain.
Actually, I am from that school.
We are all from that school. So what happened to us? Did you get lazy?
When I started working, actually, even the computer, I remember that we used to share computers in my office. And we will just wait for the first colleague that was using the computer to finish typing what they were typing so that we can also follow. But now we have our, of course, laptops, desktops. And in those days, I do recall that it was really not easy. And I remember that actually when I was, I had to draft, whether it's a speech or whether it's a letter. We used to write it first by hand. Make sure that you are writing by hand and then take that paper and type. Because you were not really confident that you can directly type in the computer. Can you imagine? But I remember that the day I was able to type, I was drafting a speech. I was drafting something that I wanted, of course, to submit to my boss. And I remember that day I said, no, let me try to write it directly in the computer. And I was so happy to be able to write without, having
to write. I think
So we come from that school, and then of course it evolved. Now, if I tell you that I'm doing that, you will say, but why? You will spend so much time because you still have to write in a paper and then transfer it to the computer. How long does it take? And now we even have AI, which means that, the time that you'll have to take
to think,
reading, and of course consulting, and of course finding the right content, finding the right words.
Yeah, it's true.
You don't really need to do so. So it is really fascinating. But of course, I'm sure the kind of person that I start by really writing.
Oh, you still write?
I don't write on the paper, but whenever I have to type something or to, draft a speech or write a report, of course, I start by really thinking about it. I put down some ideas, and then is when, of course, I can, consult and try to use AI to help me, of course, with more ideas, with more content, because I know that it will be easy for AI to get really different information in a very short space of time.
100%.
So I really believe in AI. I think that it helps. It's fast. It can provide information that you take more time to get. But we still have also to use our brain, because of course we still have to check, make sure that the information that is there is really accurate.
It's accurate.
So yeah. But I'm sure that, the next generation, I don't know if they will have to do so. I don't know if they will have to check. Maybe they will just,
Maybe we'll just believe in it. Maybe that's what will happen in the next 5 years. We'll just say, they have it right. Okay. We've come a long way. Even me, I remember, I think I did most of my school, I did with writing. And then I moved schools, and that's when they were like, iPads, laptops. So that was also a big transition. But I still know I knew a lot of people still in university who they would write. They'd we would have like 3-hour lectures and they would be writing, and it's like, hey, you guys are brave for that. But it's something that you learned. So the same way that we learn to adapt to laptops, iPads, all of this technology around us is the same way we'll adapt to for sure to this new sort of technology. But the robot in the house, I'm still hesitant. But listen, maybe one day they'll have robots that are like $200, so we'll all have them in our house.
Yeah, I'm sure that we'll use robot the way we use, our washing machine.
Do you trust the robot to do your laundry? That is the question of the day.
The way we do with our dishwasher.
Do you trust the robot to use the dishwasher?
If they do it well, why not? If they can really wash the clothes.
If they can wash the clothes
properly, and they're clean, well, and of course, you don't spend a lot of money by having them, and it will really, of course, make it easy for me, give me more time maybe to focus on something else that I love. Sure. Because at the end of the day, this is really to provide people with more time for leisure, for them to do things that they do, to focus on other issues.
That's an interesting perspective.
So,
We shall see. Let's get on to the next segment. And we are back. So, guest, what are we going to talk about today?
well, I also wanted to comment your first one because actually we're talking about AI and this came very strongly on your second podcast. But the first one you were talking about the fact that you live in different countries, you travel the world, and I had actually, I should say, really the same experience, and it's really fascinating because I also lived, of course, I am Mozambican.
Yeah.
I studied there, my first years adult life there, and then of course I moved for work to a different country. And then
What was your first move?
actually, my first move was to Ethiopia, but before going to Ethiopia, I lived in Switzerland for almost 2 years when I was still.
Wait a minute. What was the first country you've ever visited?
Yeah, living in Mozambique. I think the first one that I ever visited actually was Switzerland.
It wasn't like South Africa or anything.
No, in those days it was not easy to go to move from South Africa.
that makes
Move
sense.
from Mozambique and go to South Africa. It was during the apartheid time,
Yeah.
and of course we were not allowed to travel to South Africa. I think it was a bit complicated. But I was a young girl, and of course depending also on my parents, and I don't think that they had passports or visa. Although I remember that my father really tried to take us to South Africa. And I don't know what happened in between, so we couldn't go.
How come he tried to take you?
But this was before the independence, because before the independence, as the country was really under colonial system, you could travel to South Africa anyway. South Africa, actually Mozambique has been really traveling, to South Africa easily.
Yeah, of
but
course.
there was a time where there were some restrictions. It doesn't mean that people could not travel, but there were some kind of restrictions to travel because of, apartheid and so on. But so I was not able to go to South Africa during my childhood. But I did travel to Switzerland. Of course, it was a very specific travel because of medical conditions.
Right.
But I lived there. I learned some French. I know that you also speak some French.
Tipo, but nós falamos português. This is a multilingual podcast. Falamos português, falamos inglês, on parle français, ça dépend du jour.
E ancora italiano?
Sì, parliamo ancora italiano.
Yeah,
Poco, ma lo parliamo.
It's very interesting. So yeah, I went to Ethiopia. I worked there for 4 years.
4 years?
I didn't learn much of Amharic, unfortunately.
What were you going to do with Amharic? No offense to Ethiopia, of course, but
It's a beautiful language. I really love Amharic. Danana. I think those are the two things that I remember.
I don't know any Amharic. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, konjono. Konjono, which means beautiful. I really love that konjono. And the way they say, when they say that konjono, it's so beautiful.
How old were you when you went to Ethiopia?
I think I was 27.
Wow.
I was 27. I was quite young. So I lived there for 4 years and then, of course, moved back. And then I went to Italy, I think. I lived in Italy for almost 15 years. So it's where
we were there for a while.
It's where I learned my Italian, although without speaking. A language you have to speak.
You have to train.
Yeah, you have to train. Otherwise, you really lose it. Because I do remember that when I left Switzerland, of course, I was still a young girl, but I was really speaking very well French. And then I went back home, went back to Mozambique, and of course, you didn't have an environment where you would speak French. And then I thought that I had completely forgot my French. But of course, when I went to Addis, and of course, diplomatic community, in the middle of diplomatic community, a lot of Francophone countries, particularly from Africa, I was able to realize that my French was coming back.
Really?
And I was so happy because I can still speak French.
I think it's hard to lose a language. I think it's really difficult.
Yeah, lose completely.
I
think you
don't know,
can.
because even me when we were in Italy, obviously I think I spoke Italian was the first language that I spoke, and then I learned like Portuguese, then I learned English and stuff. But I thought I'd lost my Italian when we moved back to Mozambique, but then we went back to Italy. I like picked it back up in like 2 months. I could like speak Italian again. It was very funny.
Yeah, no, this is what happened to languages. And then, of course, from Italy we went to the US.
States.
And then here now we are in Botswana. Before Botswana we're in Kenya.
Within that, what country was your favorite to live in, would you say?
No, every country has its really particularities.
Really?
I wouldn't say that, I hated this there.
No.
There are things that I like more in a specific country. In Italy, I like, of course, I like the culture. I like the tradition, the way they look at their history, those monuments, something that I really admire from Italian people. But I also like, they are so, how can I say, I like the food.
Food, the fashion, the clothes.
But I also like the fashion.
100%.
I love the fashion. And the weather in Rome was not bad. It's not a cold place. Of course, north of Italy, it's cold. So those are really very good memories of Italy. I really loved it. But of course, when I moved to Italy and I went to the States, another level, of course, it was New York. New York is fast, but it's also fashionable. Fashion is there,
It's a very vibrant, dynamic city.
Actually, they say that, if you don't find it in New York, it's because it doesn't exist.
Probably. Which might be true.
So which means that whatever you look for, you will find it.
You know what they need? They need a Mozambican restaurant. In New York, Iso no say so thing, so I don't think it exists. That one I can 100. I've never found.
Actually, it's true.
We never found a Mozambican restaurant.
That's true. I don't think that they have one in New York.
They might, they might have one, but no say.
But it's so interesting because really in New York, although when I compare, because I was coming from Italy and going to New York, and then of course the food, the restaurants, the way they curate the food in Italy is fair. But you can also find it in New York, and the diversity of people. And one thing that is very interesting in New York is that you don't feel that you are a foreigner.
No, not at all.
In New York, you feel like you can belong to that space.
It's true.
Which was really different from Italy, because in Italy, of course,
being
an African,
you feel like an
black,
outsider.
they will always remind you that you don't belong.
You don't belong here. You go to a restaurant, they speak to you in English, and it's like, I am from here.
But in New York, no, you can belong to that place, and you don't feel that you are really a foreigner. Of course, they told me that, of course, it's not in all America where you find the same situation. There are places where you will find out. Although in America you also have
it's quite a diverse
black communities that they are really all over. So you belong also to America. But in the sense that you are in New York, you feel like I can live here. I'm not a foreigner. As far, of course, if you have a job, if you can sustain yourself, you can really enjoy the city. But of course, there's also that difficult side, particularly something that I always laugh.
What did you
It was so challenging to find a good hairdresser. I mean, a good hairdresser with the needed, environment and conditions.
True.
If you want really to take care of your hair in New York as a black African, you have to go to those really poor places.
Yeah, like the hood, basically. You basically have to go to the hood.
But you would find people who will do it very nicely.
No, you will. But I'm sure they have.
But
they must have hairdressers.
I'm sure
Like,
they do
maybe-
in Manhattan. Yeah, but it might be so expensive.
That's the only problem, because I've even seen on the internet like they have like specialist places where they do specific things, but it's like $200+ to be able to get it done. It's like, who's gonna spend that much money to get your hair done?
No, but but even if you go, for instance, to Harlem and other places like Queens and so on,
Yeah.
which is a little bit outside Manhattan, it can be still expensive. The point is that when I moved to Kenya from New York, the first thing I looked for was a good hairdresser in the middle of the city with all the conditions
That pampering.
that you can really enjoy. Because in New York, in order for them, to braid your hair, you really have to go farther away. And
Not only that, you have to come prepared. You can't come there, oh, wash my hair. No, they want to just braid your hair. They don't want to do anything they don't want to do the rest.
No, because they don't have the facilities
They
to
don't.
do so.
That's the problem.
They don't have the facilities
At
to
all.
wash your hair.
No.
You go there. If you want to wash your hair, go somewhere else. So I will wash my hair
said
at
go
home.
somewhere else.
Yeah, go somewhere else where they will wash
Your hair.
Here it's just to
To
braid
braid.
your hair.
And you have to bring your own hair already. Yeah? Guys, let's take a break. Alrighty, we are back. Where were we? We were talking about braiding. But a question that I do have is, I have two questions for you. What is your favorite city in the world, and where did you travel to recently? You can answer either or.
Recently I was in South Africa. Actually, I live in Botswana, so South Africa is very close to Botswana.
That's our third home.
That's
our third home at this point.
Botswana, and now, of course, from New York to Kenya and Kenya to Botswana, I keep on saying that my next one will be Mozambique, back home, and I miss the sea. Botswana is a landlocked country.
I can get that.
So you don't have the sea, so I really miss the sea. I miss fish, although you can find fish in Botswana, but not
You
easily.
really like fish.
It's more
I've never
frozen.
seen someone
Frozen
like
fish. I
Like
miss
this woman.
fish. I miss,
This
of course,
woman likes fish.
seafood. And I used to enjoy this in Rome. They also eat a lot of seafood.
They do eat a lot of seafood.
So I was in South Africa. Of course, it was a conference, so I didn't have much time to enjoy outside the hotel room, and then of course, and the conference. And this is what happened most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
You go to a country for work, and you just know the airport, meeting room, and your room.
That's wild.
But I was lucky that, of course, evenings we will be able to go outside and have dinner outside. It was really very, very interesting, because if the meeting room or the conference is happening in the hotel where you are also, of course, staying, it makes it quite difficult to move around.
Joburg is very dynamic.
Very, very dynamic as a city. Really. There's so much to do. There's so much to see.
100%.
I had the opportunity actually to go and visit the museum.
The Apartheid Museum.
Yeah, the Apartheid Museum. Oh,
I didn't have the stomach to join you.
No, but it was so moving. It's really moving.
No, it is. I've been before,
see,
and
yeah.
it touches you. It does touch
To
you.
see the history of what they went through, and then of course the struggle of Mandela.
I think you see when you get there and you see the it's the two bars that are like white, black, and it's like, hey,
yeah, you start
this is how
feeling
things
that,
were.
that this happened, and unfortunately, you still have spaces where people are still discriminated.
100%. Yeah.
Which means that we still have a long way to go in order to reach a point where, of course, we are treated equally. If you have countries where inequality is really rampant,
You do.
there are those who have so much and those who have nothing. So, which means that the imbalances are still there in our society,
They
unfortunately. But yeah, I was in South Africa. I was in South Africa for 15 days. It was quite an extended conference. And it was good to be there. It was good to change. Of course, I love Botswana. It's a peaceful country. It's so stable. But still it's small, you don't have the variety of restaurants that you get in Joburg. The diversity of people, diversity of culture. So those are things that, from time to time, when you travel, you have the opportunity to, to enjoy, to benefit from what the other places can really offer.
That's true. Travel-wise, what country that you visited did you enjoy, like, from a tourist point of view?
I think it was Thailand.
You like Thailand a lot?
I went to Thailand.
I thought you were going to say China. Because you look like you really liked China.
No, actually, I'm really fascinated by Asia because, of course...
I want to see what goes on there.
Because, of course, as I mentioned, I left Mozambique, or the first time I traveled, of course, apart from Switzerland, and then I went to Ethiopia, and then from them, I've been in and out. Mm-hmm. Italy, America, Kenya. So I do remember that I went to Indonesia and India for work again.
I'd love to go.
So those were the two countries in Asia that I really visited for my 30 years of, work experience.
What did you think of
But then I decided that, let me explore a little bit. Because when you go, to participate in a conference, you don't really have the time. Although, when I went to India, it was field work, so we were able really to engage with the communities.
When you say engage with the communities, what do you mean?
I mean, it means that it was field work and it was in the space of agriculture and food security. So there was a project that was being implemented, and it was really benefiting the communities of a certain region. So which means that we went there to see how the project has been implemented. So for that, you really have to talk to the communities that are really benefiting from the project. So you go out of the city.
Wait a minute. You weren't in Delhi. Where did you go?
From Delhi, I went to Gujarat.
You went to
Gujarat? So it was one of
the Gujus, okay.
So I went to Gujarat, but actually it was even also outside
of the main city
in Gujarat. So I had the opportunity really to see a little bit of what we normally don't see if you just go to participate in a conference in a capital. So it means that you engage because you have the opportunity to talk to the people that are really benefiting from that project, find out how the project is helping, how the project is really transforming their lives, their livelihoods, what is really, and then you can compare, and they will tell you that, when we started, I was at this level, and now I'm in that level. And particularly if it really benefits women that are able to take their kids to school, to improve their houses. So, but of course, we're talking about as a tourist. I really enjoy. I went to Indonesia. Yeah. I went to Thailand last year, and this year I also went to Asia. I went to China. I was so curious about China.
I would be.
Because I've heard so much about China, so I said, no, let me visit China, and because I had a great friend that is living in China, and so I went to see her in Beijing. But of course, for Beijing, I had the opportunity to travel to Shanghai.
Then you took the train. Oh, God! Oh, you looked like you had a ball.
The train. Oh, it was wonderful. I think we did. I don't remember how many kilometers is from Beijing to Shanghai, but it took us really less than 5 hours. That's so fast that you don't even feel. It seems that you are really flying.
Wow.
So sophisticated. And what I really loved about China is also the security.
I can imagine.
It's so safe. Normally we are really scared in some of those cities that we travel around, even in my own city. You cannot leave your computer because, of course, I will travel with my computer because I was spending 3 days here, 4 days there. And then, of course, I remember when I arrived in Shanghai, I had my computer, and then, of course, they were inviting me for lunch. And they said, okay, I have to take my computer. And they said, no, you can leave the computer in the car. I said, no, I can't leave the computer in the car. They said, yeah, leave your computer in the car. No one is going to touch it. I was so
crazy.
surprised because I will not do this, not even in New York,
No way.
not in Italy.
Nowhere.
I can do it in Gaborone.
Yeah, no, I think in Gabs you'd be okay.
Yeah, I cannot do it in South Africa.
No,
I know,
they are
in
so.
Maputo. But you can do it in China. Can you imagine? In Shanghai. You can do it in Shanghai. No one touches anything.
They won't even think about it.
So I was so surprised because I didn't really have this notion that the country is so peaceful and
so
so
safe.
safe. Yeah. And then food. Oh, food. But yeah, you can really eat. And of course, fresh food.
I can imagine.
Variety of food, diversity of food. And now I understand, I had a friend from China. It was a Chinese friend. She was living in Namibia, I think. And she was telling me that, I miss food. I said, but you have food in Namibia? And she said, no.
No, it's not the
I don't have that variety of food that I can get in China. But it's true. Fresh. But from meat to fish to vegetable.
To fruit as well.
You will eat what that you cannot imagine. So it was very nice. And then green, because what we hear about, of course it was in those days, pollution. The country is green, but it's so green.
So it's not all skyscrapers.
I know, but every space they will find a way. And every city, they will find a way of really greening. Yeah.
That's so good.
So actually, someone was telling me that, it's the country where you really have the plantation of the forest, because that is not, it's really a forest that was really
built and implemented.
Yeah, really built.
Do you think it's a way for them to curb sort of the emissions, because they have pretty high emissions in China from what
They used to.
Now it's decreased a lot.
Very much, even in Beijing. It's, you are really starting to breathe.
That's good though.
Yeah, but even in Shanghai, and then I went to Hangzhou. I went to Hangzhou, which is a beautiful city, surrounded by, of course, the city is surrounding a lake. And then you have got so much to see, and it's so green.
You went to, where was it, Macau?
I went to Macau. I was very curious about Macau because you know that Macau also used to be a Portuguese colony. So, yeah. But of course, you don't see much of Portuguese in Macau, although they kept the names of the roads and some shops, and you can still find a lot of Portuguese restaurants. And that was very interesting. Very interesting. But I loved Thailand. Thailand was also wonderful.
Thailand was fun. I think Bangkok is one of the craziest cities I've ever seen. Just the architecture of it was like, there was just so much happening there. Like it was
and the
crazy.
The street food in Bay.
Oh yeah, no, you can eat for cheap. In Thailand, you can eat for cheap. Like I think we didn't even go to that many restaurants. We literally just eat off the street. And
you don't need it because the food is there.
And they tell you, they're like, oh no, you're going to have to use, I think it was like mercury or something, because your stomach isn't going to be used to it. I don't think we got sick, no?
No, we didn't.
We didn't get sick.
No, and the food is also very fresh and very...
It's true.
And the variety of food. You can also eat from fish to meat to...
anything.
To fruits, to vegetables.
I think it was we would have a lot of durian fruit. Era aquela fruta, like era verde de fora, a casca era verde, mas lá dentro era branca.
What is that?
Durian.
Let
me find a picture for it. Let me find a picture.
But of course, I love my Mozambican food.
Hey, this one is
I can eat anything, anywhere. But coming back, my matapa, I love it, which is the cassava leaves that are really pounded.
This is the durian fruit.
I see. Yeah.
Do you remember eating this?
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Crazy. Then there was also that purple, the dragon fruit.
The dragon fruit.
That's what it was.
There's a lot of dragon fruit.
There was so much. Yeah.
Also in China, they eat a lot of dragon fruit.
They eat a lot of dragon fruit, really.
So I think it's something that is very popular in Asia. Although they also have dragon fruit in Kenya.
They do. Yeah. But I was watching a video that said that a lot of they don't really China's the biggest importer of durian fruit. So they don't grow it, but they import it a lot from Vietnam, for example.
Ah, okay. They don't grow it there.
No. And then I was in that video, there was also people who they would go to Vietnam for the day to just have the durian fruit. Then they fly back.
Like spoiled ones, they can afford to do such kind of things. That's so interesting.
I think it's that, and it's also, I think the flights are just cheap.
Yeah, but I was saying that, you know, I of course I love different cuisines and traveling the world. I have really had the opportunity to appreciate different cuisines, from the Italian cuisine, which I really love, the pastas. Less the lasagnas, but different pastas.
The different pastas are so good.
I love it. I love the food. Yeah, why not the pizzas? You can really find very, very good. Actually, that's the country of the pizza. So the real pizza you eat there in Italy. And then of course I also visited France several times, and there also, of course, I had opportunity
to eat really good food.
To eat there. The French cuisine is also fantastic, and of course the Portuguese cuisine, which is very close to home.
Very close to home. Also, Brazilian is very close to home.
I travel around, but of course, when I go to Portugal, you know, bifa portuguesa, bacalhau, the different ways of doing the bacalhau. That one I'm not going to really, of course, exchange for anything. But I was talking about my food in Mozambique, because in Mozambique the food is also wonderful. Actually, everyone who goes to Mozambique,
they say the food is good. It's
they
true,
will tell us that the food is good.
You cannot deny that.
You know how to cook, you know, from the matapas, you know, the cassava leaves that are really mixed with peanut butter, and then the coconut. We use a lot of coconut. Of course, it's really a coastal country, so there's a lot of coconut, and almost on whatever we cook, you know, the coconut is there, and then coconut with seafood. Oh my God, that one!
It sounds like you're missing home. It really
we are almost Christmas, and I'm spending Christmas in there, so I'm sure that I will enjoy all the food that I've been missing all this time.
Okay, where is your next travel destination that's not home? Where would you want to go, I guess is the question.
Actually, I have a trip where, you know, that is coming soon. I will be going to Cairo. I'm going to Egypt.
Have fun.
Yeah, and then you know that there's the Grand Museum.
I really wish I would be going to the
Grand Museum that is looking at the pyramids.
That museum is going to take so long for you to visit. It's going to take you so long. This woman would take us to museum.
Actually, I'm going for a conference, but I want to make sure that I take a day.
To go to the museum.
Day. So that I can go to the museum. I cannot go to Egypt. I cannot go to Egypt and not go to the museum. It's not my first time that I'm going to Egypt, so I've seen the pyramids.
What was Egypt like when you first went?
But it was long ago, and the things that really struck me when I went to Egypt is the traffic, and something that I will not understand. I'm so curious. I'm so curious to see how the situation is now.
Has it improved?
Because, you know, the taxi will take a taxi. And then, of course, the robots are red, and you're supposed to stop because it's red.
Right.
And I will see the cars still moving.
They're still passing.
They're still moving. They're still passing. And I say, but when did they stop? And there are the traffic, they're coming from different sides and different...
I can't even imagine what that even looks like.
It was fascinating. But, of course, I love also the food. You know, the food is also very good. Actually, I think that whenever I travel, you know, I like it.
You're just there for the restaurant. That's what it sounds like.
I like it.
She there to eat.
Because I always love the food. The food and the people, and particularly if you have the opportunity to engage with the local people, you really learn a lot. And of course, I always like, you know, to take a taxi and start really, of course, you know, having a conversation with the driver. Because they will really give you the sense of the city, the sense of the country. What are the main issues? What can you do? How is the country is going on? You know, you will have that in New York. You will have that in Egypt. You have it in Italy.
Everywhere.
So, of course, I always advise, you know, take a taxi. Try to be friendly. Don't keep quiet. Start a conversation. you will really enjoy your travel.
See, this is from the traveler's guide. Veteran traveler. Veteran traveler. But yeah, what is a country you want to visit next? Country or city that you'd like to visit still, like maybe the next few years?
I still want to explore more my continent, Africa. Of course, I've been in Southern Africa, North Africa,
East
West
Africa.
But I think there's still a lot to be seen in this continent. It's a continent of more than 40 countries, different cultures, different traditions. I would really like to go, particularly West Africa.
Oh yeah, we don't know West Africa.
And stay a little bit more so that I can really explore and really learn and really appreciate. Yeah, so I think this is something that I would love to do. But of course, now I'm in Southern Africa. Of course, Mozambique is also in Southern Africa. I've never been to Lesotho, for instance. And,
Namibia. Have you been to Namibia?
Not even to Namibia.
We have to go to Namibia.
So maybe, well, the world has so much to be seen. We have not 100%. Done not even a thing of it. So.
Not at all. We have to. We'll go. So it sounds like we're going to Nigeria next, and we're going to Namibia. That's the plan. That's the plan. And we are back, and this is really the end of the podcast. So I guess how did you find our conversation today?
Well, it was really a good conversation.
I enjoyed it. It was interesting to hear your perspective on things. There were certain things that I didn't know about you.
And particularly the fact that, as we were really talking, as we were really exchanging, I was also traveling around to those beautiful places. Some of them I visited long ago.
It's true, and they've changed.
So the nostalgia. So it was really quite a very interesting travel that I did to, talking to you and, taking me back to Ethiopia, to Kenya, to Egypt and so on. So that was really interesting. I love traveling. I think I will continue really to enjoy.
This one is well traveler.
And try to mingle more.
Mingle more.
Whenever I travel.
I think that's a good idea.
Try to, explore more
100%.
To get to know and learn, because actually they say that, traveling is like reading a book. You learn so much, things that you could not even imagine, things that you didn't know, how people live, how people react, So it was nice. It was wonderful. So well done. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on the pod. Look at you. Look at you. You see?
I didn't know exactly what you wanted to, to hear from me, because I know that your focus is law, fashion, and AI.
That's the focus. But when I have some guests on, we're going to talk about what the guest wants to talk about, because people are so versatile. Not everyone sort of has a background in the things that I normally speak about. So I can't expect someone to say, come and talk about AI. If you have an interest, we can, like we did in the beginning, we talked about AI because, it was something that you wanted to sort of like discuss. But, you can come on the pod, talk about whatever you want to talk about. There are no limitations on this podcast. We're going to transcend every conversation. We're going to transcend human capabilities. That's really the point of it. Just have a conversation as if we're, as if it's just every day. That's pretty much it. So,
thank you.
Thank you for coming on the pod.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Lex and Lace podcast. Do your typical thing. Like, comment, follow. Do your thing. And we'll see you next week.